Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hello.
Hello. Happy Friday.
Yeah, just a warning. I feel like I'm too tired, and it also feels like a very long time. Like it feels like
That
this
you've been
week
tired?
feels it feels like so much. Like it feels like this week has been 20 days.
I too feel that because usually I host one group a week of people, and this week I had two. And it was great, but also ate my soul.
Okay. So she hosted groups
Makes
of
me
people.
tired.
No, but I'm laughing because you're like, oh, my actual life. I'm like, no, General Hospital felt long. I was like, there, because like when I look at my notes, I'm like, this happened this week. Like sometimes you think it happened over a 2 week period.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Literally like every week when I scroll up to the top of my notes, I'm like, wait, what?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So if you're still listening, this is what we're going to be doing today. Um, so we're starting with Sunny, and man, was that I don't even know. So many emotions.
So
So many
much.
emotions.
So
Like I
much.
feel like when Anna is involved, I have so many emotions and like undelivered slaps, that you can't deliver via home to TV. And I'm just watching this and I'm listening to this. And so many parts to this. So it's one of them in particular. This one's from Sunny. When Diane shows up, he says, she thinks I was dumb enough to shoot an agent. And I'm
No, but
like,
like I could not.
I was like, what? It's like, I'm like, do you not know you were dumb enough to shoot an agent? Like, is this something you've blocked out? But yeah, like he plays it really well. Like I feel gaslit how good he is.
Like I truly believe, even though because Anna bananaed so hard this week,
Oh,
like
it
to
was
the next level, like I don't even know. But I
no.
feel like the delusion of Anna mixed with the delusion of Sunny would almost make them the ultimate power couple in their
Yes.
world.
Absolutely. And so like I okay, so there's the sunny, there's a sunniness, and they alternate, right? So he says that to Diane, and then now we're back to Anna Banana asking Jason. So when she's done with Sunny, she's like, and the funniest part is like Jason is literally traipsing around the
Yeah.
penthouse with a murder weapon. And as we
Oh my
confirmed
gosh.
last week, there was no warrant for his body. Can you get a body? Anyways, I'm like, what are those called? I'm like, is it a
Oh
body
yes.
search? Okay, so, anyways, that was an
I
inner thought,
remember.
everybody. But it is an inner thought for them if they're wearing headphones. So,
True. Very true.
so welcome to my mind. Okay, it's so fun thinking about someone wearing headphones listening. Hi, ears. Okay, sorry. It's really tired.
I know sometimes it
Okay.
makes me feel like I should do this voice. Hi, welcome to the Port Charles podcast.
Okay, it's not a meditation. Like they can't meditate on all this stuff. Okay. Okay. So the silliness from Anna, not silliness, like it gives me rage. I know it's meant to
Rage.
be silly, but I receive it as full blown rage. So when she decides to go to Jason, okay, so you're gonna have to come down to the station. Why? He literally had like you have a warrant for Sunny's place, and Jason has an alibi, like an alibi. And she's just like, I thought, since like Kate's and him have a history from high school, I'm like, you
He
mean the
doesn't
yeah,
remember.
like that was ridiculous. I'm like, you're the one who like he figured it out because of Anna, right? She knows about the
Yeah.
brain damage that prevents him from knowing who Kate is because he didn't know who he was. That's why Kate's fooled him for 2 years. Why
Exactly.
would that factor in? Oh, I guess that's how the PCPD works. All those intense memories you don't remember? Wouldn't that be motive enough to want to help me? That gun we can't find, the absent gun? Well, since we can't and we don't have the gun to prove you're innocent, you're going to jail. Like it's just really bizarre how they work in the absence of information rather than
Yes.
information, like things.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't believe that because he was like, but why would I come down? She's like, I can't get anywhere with him. So I was thinking that after all the years you have been in the mob and work with Sunny, that I would bring you to the PCPD. We would sit in a room and I would ask you, can you tell me if Sunny did it? Can you tell me how he did it? Could you just
Tell me where
tell
all the
me?
bodies are.
But I love that Diane points out that like Jason has an alibi courtesy of you.
Yeah.
And then at the end, she was all like, you mark my words, I will bring his killer to justice. And I was like, that's not true, though. If you want to bring the killer to justice, you need Felicia. She's not part of this right now.
No, she wants to bring the killer to justice, and then she hopped on a plane.
So
It was super
passionate.
urgent, guys.
And then, like, partway through today's episode, I was like, and exactly why is Anna inserted into this element? Like, why did she go, like, there's an FBI agent has been murdered on her watch? And she's
Yes.
like, no, I think it's time for an off the books adventure. And why? Because I'm a cool cop and the cool kids are doing it. And I want to be cool too. Wait,
Because you know
Carly?
what? You're in my town.
You're basically it's like, wait, what's Carly doing? Who's Carly doing it with? Jason? Yeah, I remember Luke now. It's like, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. But when you found out about Lulu, you did not actually care about her. You were using that. And then you used Charlotte simply to find Valentine's location. So that's why I'm like,
Hmm.
why this flip? You were using Lulu to locate Valentine, and now you forgot about Valentine, and now you remembered another old lover, Luke, and you're like, I have loyalty to some old lover. Any old lover will do. And anything to just be
Special friends.
involved. Yeah.
Special friends.
Special friends. Anything to just be included.
Yes.
Like, what is happening? She was just on fire in a not good way this week at all. Like at all. And like her whole bizarre thing with Jason, like, I just, you got to come to the police station. Then he shows up. I'm like, Jason, like,
Like, why?
why? And
Truly.
then he's like, I want to, like, literally all this girl wants, because I'm calling her a girl on purpose, because she's not acting like
Yes.
a grown woman at
Hmm.
all. I just feel like her conversation with Jason, it was like she was that girl who was like, just say it. Just say, just tell me it's over. That's what I feel is happening.
It's
You
so
know, because this is a breakup. Like,
yeah.
they're broken up. This is a relationship nobody knew was happening, but it happened in
Hmm.
Anna's mind. And Anna wants answers. She wants closure, right?
Closure,
She wants to
friend.
understand why they're not moving forward. And the fact that she was like all sad about it. And I'm like, I don't understand. You did this whole thing with Sunny. You know, the moment she wasn't in law enforcement, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm not in law enforcement, Sunny. There's no like barrier between us. And then she told the whole town they were friends. She would not
Yes.
stop advertising their friendship. And then all of a sudden she was like, oh, Sunny's a mobster? And then like with Jason, it's like he pointed out in the penthouse, like I've always been who I am. And I just find that it's like really ridiculous. Like for like a cop person, I find that she fights against facts real hard. Like between Duke, Valentine, Peter, like all these
Yes.
people where she's always like, "Oh, they're just always crossing lines." It's like why is that surprising that they're on the opposite side of the law? It's like that's how you found them. Like you
Right?
found them there. And then you're like, "Oh my gosh, they continue to stay there." Yeah. Yes. Correct, Anna. Like I'm just at a
Accurate.
loss, like at a loss for what is going on with her. What did you think about her conversation with Jason?
Well, that's exactly it. It's like she's trying so hard to be in the middle of the world and she just wants to drag Jason onto her side. And he's like standing firm and doing his thing. And then it felt exactly like that, like a high school situation, a very naive and young situation where she's either trying to guilt him or,
Yes.
trying to control the situation and navigate it in such a juvenile way. Like it was fun to watch and irritating all at the same time.
Oh my gosh. And then when she was arguing with Jason, she about like Sunny being guilty, she's like, I trust my gut. I don't know for sure. That was the line. The first part of the sentence was I trust my gut. And then she landed on like, I can't know for sure. And I'm like, well,
No, but
that's two different thoughts.
but they played it up so much. It was so
Yes.
amazing because
Yes.
even in the scene with Felicia, she says, I have everything under control, but her face didn't convey that. And then she says, I'm a cautious woman. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, but like what I found bizarre with those statements, like I have it all under control, was like, but you're not in Somalia right now. Like you're in
Exactly.
your apartment. So I'm like, yeah, 100%.
Control of packing, totally.
Like you rearranged the machete. You took pills that she said may not
Are
be working,
expired. Yeah,
and I feel like, yeah, I think it's easy to say like I have it under control when you're not in a dangerous place yet. Like
precisely.
it was just, I'm like, I would have felt better if Felicia also went along, but I mean, I'm guessing because of the Holly factor, you have to, like, they're gonna get thrown together. But
Yes.
I just don't know what to think. I don't know what to think because Jason felt adamant about finishing this conversation, and they use language that I, for one, wasn't so comfortable with. So at the hospital,
Yeah.
Jason is like, "We didn't finish," and then she says, "We did finish." And then he said, "I didn't." And then she said, "Okay, I'll go first." It just sounded dirty to me.
Right?
I did not like it. Nobody was saying we didn't finish our conversation.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she didn't respond, we did finish our conversation. It was all like, we did finish. I didn't. I'll go first. And I'm like, I don't, no.
What's
My
happening?
ears. Yeah, earmuffs, earmuffs. So that was strange to me.
Yes.
Is it strange to you that they're on a plane together?
Yes, I don't like it because Anna is, I know why she's there logically due to storyline. But in my Port Charles brain, I'm like, there are people on a plane and she's in his seat. I don't like the proximity. I don't like that, potentially he's going to save her. Like there's a bond, there's a trauma bond that happens there that's going to like reignite something she thinks that's there. She definitely was flirting heavy with Sunny when they were friends because they could be. What is this line that she's like looking at? Does she want to be best friends with Jason because of Robin? Does she like
The-
I
you
don't
know,
know.
like he was her daughter's boyfriend
I
at
exactly.
one point. And I'm just like, look, regardless of how I feel about either character, I'm seeing what they're showing, and they are very
Yeah.
much making this sharp left turn because they've been filming a lot of like Anna looking at him all like mopey, and Jason
Yes.
being like, "It matters. It matters to me, you and your mopiness." And I'm like, "Why? Don't you have
Yeah, I
kids?
don't
like,
understand.
don't you have a coffee business to run?" So I mean, it feels that way because it's like it's just a weird division, right? Because you have two natural duos, right? Like Carly and Jason have like a relationship. Anna and Brennan have this like, WSP agents. They've known each other a long time. And you have these two people, and then it's like, here's like a swap. You have Anna with Jason, which you're kind of like concerned about. And
Yeah.
then you have Brennan and Carly who have this interesting chemistry. And for me, I'm just sort of like, okay, like, as is it just as simple as that? You're kind of going like, let's have a fun Brennan Carly thing? Are you and like Jason and Anna this thing, or is it that you need these four characters to be linked for something? It's just odd because like I don't know if this is just being like, yeah, we're like, because how do you go in a different direction couple wise? I mean, when they keep displaying this bizarre this intimacy between Carly and Jason. Like I'm confused.
I am too. I think they're just trying to throw us off because there's also a moment when, of the millions of times that Anna stormed into Brennan's office, that he said something to her and she made it sound like he was flirting with her or that she wanted the challenge of him trying to like come after her or something.
Yeah, she was trying to get his attention. She seemed very jealous that he was
Yes.
giving that to Carly. But the thing is, it's really funny. But that's the thing. The dynamics are interesting because there's this history with like Anna and Brennan. There's this turf war going. She literally runs around like a petulant child, and he's just the stable
Hmm.
figure who allows her to tantrum and leave.
Yes.
Then between Anna and Carly, they have this really funny like buddy cop vibe to them. Like whenever it comes
Yes.
to these dramas, they are definitely playing up the Anna banana thing, and they've been playing up Carly, like portraying her like a competent law person, if you will. You know, the way that she burst in and questioned Isaiah. So they are kind of doing this bizarre thing, and I don't know exactly why, but it's clear that like I feel like an Anna from like years ago, maybe or before, would have been very neutral about like Carly and Jason. But now all of a sudden everything is so personal. And she really seems to be focused on the influence Carly has. And they're kind of like pitting them against one another in like funny ways, where like they're showing Carly go into Isaiah's room and Anna going into to Isaiah's room. But Carly goes in and out. She goes in, asks the proper questions that Anna's not asking, and leaves, gets what she needs. And then Anna lingers there for a really long time and starts to like accuse the guy of like, so did you want to be murdered? Do you think maybe you're like asking for it? Like I was like, what are
Exactly,
you doing
exactly.
right now? It was so bizarre.
So
It was
cringy.
so bizarre. She's like, why are you making an assassin want to kill you? And then he's like, I'm a really good doctor. Are you sure? Like that, the ego on you. And I'm like, Anna, just because you don't know how to relate to being excellent doesn't mean you have to proceed in this way with him.
Okay, what you're saying is really interesting because when we talked last week, we're like, okay, is Jason going to work for the WSB? And now he's getting
Mhm.
all mixed up and lines are being blurred. So we're basically seeing like a giant job interview this week of how Jason and Carly are going to join the WSB and they're going to be working always combatively with Anna, who can never get anything done. And their little new WSB crew is going to solve all the crime in Port Charles.
Like, I think it's something like that because because of, okay, well, now you're making me wonder if about what Jason said to her. Because, you know, we know that Brennan is crushing on Carly,
Oh, yeah, horrid.
but he's also a slick agent. And while he can crush on Carly, I think he's the kind of guy who can keep his eye on the prize also.
Yes.
And it's possible he could have a crush on her and maybe see her as an asset.
Hmm.
Like even today, they modeled, you know, like her ability to handle certain things. Like when he called, she got straight to the point and was like, "What do you have for me?" Like that was such a
Yes.
like an agent type response. But
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
we see, for instance, that Carly is not on the field, right? She's not out in the field.
Hmm.
So I kind of wonder how and in what way, because she's always been helping and involved in these weird things where you have to find someone or solving some kind of case. So yes, I do think, like, I think you're onto something, because Brennan had presented this idea of using Carly to get Jason to work for the WSB.
Yes.
So I don't know, it could be this really rogue way of solving crimes that Anna's always wanting to be a part of, or maybe she'll finally leave the PCPD.
She's not going anywhere. She's like leaving. Like she
Well,
just leaves.
for WSB, but the thing is, like he pointed out, she was x'd out. So like I don't even know if they'd have her back or off the book stuff, but she's clearly not meant for like the law.
No, she is not.
Oh my gosh. So we talked about her running all over town this week. So into like she just comes off like a child, and you're just like, am I actually seeing this? Like she's like, oh, the whiskey. Like she's all jealous of them hanging out
Yes.
together. And then I laugh how she's having tantrums where like he's like, "Oh, I can't really help you with Lucky's location or something." And then I loved how she was hysterical and she grabs Carly as if Carly was hysterical. She's like, "Don't listen to him. I will save Lucky." And then she runs out because remember, he doesn't want to give her information. And I was like, "What is happening right now?" Because Carly wasn't frantic. Like Anna was
No, not at
hysterical. So
all.
I found that moment really funny and like super comedic. And I love that the moment she left the room, Brendan's like, "Yeah, sure, Carly, I'll tell you. Like, I'll tell you where he is."
Right?
So I just find he lets her have her like little storms. Like she storms in and out. He lets her act like a tornado. He lets her tantrum, and then he kind of like moves about business. But then I was laughing because she also did it to like Jordan and Isaiah, and they seem to be hitting it off.
They really did. I kind of like their chemistry. I mean, I was trying to figure out like ages and stuff, but I mean, it's poor Charles.
Well, I just love. Okay, I mean, we love Jordan, but the scenes this week with her were like amazing,
Epic.
amazing. Like,
Yes.
'cause I was like, that can't be possible because we've seen this guy lurking around, and then I was shocked. I'm like, Jordan's in the room. Well, like he's obviously caught, like, because she's not an idiot. She like questioned him. I was shocked. I'm like, he pushed her,
I know.
and then when she decided to go chase him in the stairwell, like it was so good. Like that was such a fun scene.
So good.
And I loved how they did that thing where Isaiah assumed that the person who like was a man, that Jordan was a guy saving him from an assassin and didn't realize it was like her doing it all in heels.
I know, and I love that too because we always talk about how like amazing Jordan is and how wonderful she is and how she's like a breath of fresh air. And yeah, I just love that he just did not read that right at all and how cute it made it because he's like, I can't stop staring at you.
I know because she's stunning. And she was like, do I have
Right.
something on my face? I'm like, no,
You
Jordan.
know your
It's
face.
your whole face. It's the whole face you got going on. So I kind of love that. That's a little jump started. Isaiah's kind of like making his way into Port Charles, like he talked to Elizabeth. So he found someone that was able to help with Lucky. I just thought it was interesting that Elizabeth's first call was Carly.
I know. I wasn't expecting that. That was awesome.
I wasn't expecting that, but then I think maybe I do a bit more towards the end of the week when Carly and Jason were having that comment because he says something about, Bobby being a good matriarch. And then Carly talks about Lila being a really good matriarch. And then he says, well, you are, so we talk about the show being very generational, and there have been
Yes.
shifts in terms of where the attention has been placed as of late and on which characters. And when you think about it, it's like, even though it's funny the way that they're pushing this whole like Lulu's my cousin and I miss her, and I'm like, you mean the
I
cousin you
know.
haven't like talked about in the last few years? But like, but they're making it obvious. They're highlighting it. Like the
Yes.
intention is that Lulu's gonna come back, and this is gonna be like, and Carly will be a significant figure for this person, and they're
Hmm.
trying to rekindle that relationship they had when essentially she was a teenager. Um,
Yes.
and so with regards to that setup, I mean, in a way, like watching Carly all of a sudden after so long, like having these like Lulu scenes, it does make you think though, right? Because her mom passed, Luke's passed, and I didn't even
Yeah.
think about all of that for Lulu. Um, and
Hmm.
so technically, like she is this sort of matriarch. Like there isn't really anyone there, right? Like Laura is Lulu's mom, but with Laura
Yes.
not there, Carly technically is the main family member,
Person,
right?
exactly.
Because if it wasn't Laura, it would have been Bobby. And with Bobby
Yes.
not there, so that kind of started to make sense for me that Carly is taking up that mantle within the Spencers and her family to be focused on Lulu, and it kind of made sense, right? Elizabeth reaching out to her because technically, like, Carly is pretty much like the next of kin with Dante, not being married to her anymore, and while Maxie is the best friend, not family.
True. Very
So when
true.
I paused and thought about that, I was like, okay, this is really interesting. Um, but also Jason used the wrong words. Like I don't know what to take from that. He used the word forbid and Carly in the context of Brennan.
I literally wrote it down because I'm like, oh my goodness. You just like gave her everything she needed to run, not just walk, run into his arms, his bed, you know?
To Brennan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just find it confusing because it's like, you know, Carly and Jason have always been friends, but it wasn't until he came back from the dead the first time that when he was patient 6 that I kept saying in the podcast there's something different where like a lot of the times I felt in the earlier years it was Carly often claiming Jason as her best friend, and what I
Yes.
noticed being different after Jason was like patient 6 was it was the first time that I saw Jason claim Carly in
Yes.
return so publicly, and every time obviously like after being dead he's a bit more emotional, and values people, and the world keeps changing, but their relationship never does. But that's what I mean, like you're going down this road, and with all of these changes they never there was room to kind of really break that emotional tension. Like, I mean, disappear it if that wasn't the course they wanted to go on. So, like, when he came back, there wasn't a ton of Carly Jason scenes. And if it was for sure that they weren't kind of putting these two together, I think that there was a lot of space and ways to maneuver to kind of show us a dynamic where they were a bit more neutral,
Hmm.
right? They could have brought that back. And so I guess for me, that's what it is. It's like, if you want the characters to stay friends, cool. I just think there's like a different, really, really, really intense undertone. And part of me is like, are you addressing it? Because sometimes it looks like they are going to address that dynamic, especially since a lot of the story lately, they've really taken a deep dive into people's relationships and dynamics.
Yes.
They've been really, really been making those things bigger parts to the story. So I guess there it's just really confusing because you have those scenes where he's like trying to tell her what to do, but then backs off. And then it's like he wants something. But Carly's also super naive about Brendan's motives. Like, he's
Yes.
complimenting her about being so good and so sharp, and then she's like, yeah, and then those that recording just disappeared. Someone must really like me. And he just stared
I
at
know.
her, was like, dude, I thought you were like really clever, because that's what I see in you. But when it comes to Brennan, there's just this bizarre, like, oh, for me, like, she doesn't seem to register that he's serious or that somebody would go those lengths for her, when like that's literally why a lot of people hate her, is that all these people like go to great lengths for Carly.
Exactly. And I just, it's so different because like she's dated guys on the right side of the law, but he like literally works to protect people kind of, except he's a bad guy. But
Yeah,
like if Jason wasn't here, I'd be all for this relationship to happen.
me
But
too.
with Jason here, it's like you said, it's just it's very odd and I don't know what to make of it. And I just want the writers to like make a decision, like at least discuss the fact that you were married, discuss the fact that
Yeah,
you were
put
going
it
to
to
do
bed.
it right before, yeah, exactly, before Sunny walked in. Like these are major characters, they're legacy characters. Like we need some sort of information, some sort of direction. If they're tabling it, not tabling it, trying to figure it out low key off camera, like we want to know.
No, you know what? I like that. We've talked a lot about this because of what they're showing us. Like, we're seeing it on the screen and it's confusing. Like, make up your
Yes.
mind. Like, what path do you want to go? And so I kind of like that. Like, there's so many ways to formally put it to bed, and also just having that conversation. And I feel like they did. But if you're going to have a conversation to be like, we're friends, that act like it, because I'm like, you guys really need to catch up to whatever agreement you had, because I just find the connection, the longing really intense and really present. So yeah, it's kind of like, make a choice. And I just find it odd. So they're having this conversation around, Brennan, but then it like shifts, right? He's staring at her really emotionally as she's like looking at Lulu. Like, they
Yes.
have these really big moments there together. And then even after, it's like, without question, this guy is going to go on a mission where it's possible he could lose his life, leave his kids all over again, but
Hmm.
literally for Carly.
And you made a post about it, but they're even dressing the same. It's like
Yeah,
just talk to each other enough to at least figure out your wardrobe, much less your emotional state.
because I think for me, I would have happily, like, let's just say, like, I wanted them to pursue this, right? Because they started
Yes.
that story and it got ripped away because they killed off Jason. And then he came back, and I think it was really disappointing not to address that head
Yes.
on. And
Hmm.
so I guess I want a decision, but I just think that if you like ended it, like really officially ended the whole possibility of a Jason and Carly situation, I would have happily taken Brennan as a consolation prize for me, right? Because there are sparks there. So, and it is entertaining, but I just,
Yes.
like you said, like, make up your mind and have a clear answer. I need to see how this lucky mission is going to go, because I feel super weirded out about like Jason and Anna going on this thing.
I do too. I don't like it like at all.
So we'll see. We'll see if everybody actually connects with regards to this like mission. Um Also other things going on, really big cases. So this whole gun thing, out of hand, like,
Oh,
completely has gotten out of hand. Had out of hands? Out of
out of
hand? Out of
hand.
hand. Yeah.
Hand. It wasn't multiple hands, but for this expression, this hand.
Yeah, like this has been okay, this is first of all, the fact that Alexis at this early stage pulled a parent trap to get Molly and Christina in the same room was like a terrible choice. I'm
Oh,
like,
awful.
okay, Alexis, I understand family is important. I understand these girls, you want them to repair their relationship. But we
Mhm.
also sometimes have to accept unpleasant realities. We understand your sister died. You wish she didn't. You wish you had a sister. But it doesn't
Mhm.
change the fact that there are some really big issues that exist between Molly and Christina. I just think that before doing something like that, like, could she not have maybe shown support to Molly? You
Well,
know?
oh my God, yes. It's like there was no plan. She's like, if like you said, Parent Trap. I get them in the same room, everything's going to solve itself. But she had no. She didn't provide them with any tools, any support,
No.
anything. It was just like, okay, we're standing in the same room. Let's see what happens. Nothing good, Alexis. What are you thinking?
Like, I'm just saying that I know this was hard, but you could have simply just started spending time with Molly. Like just being there,
Yes.
letting her vent. Maybe don't bring up Christina's name at all for a long
Yes.
time and just wait for things to simmer down. But at the very least, I think show Molly that she also has you too, because their conversation alone was really it sucked, you know, like she kept like
Yeah.
she did not prove Molly wrong in the thing she was accusing her of. So I do like that they went there, right? Because there's still these issues between Molly and Christina, but she involved Alexis in it this time, pointing to
Yes.
a few things and saying some really hurtful things. But Alexis can't really argue against, like when Molly was saying, you know, she can trust that TJ can show up for her. She can't,
Yes.
like she can count on TJ, but she cannot count on her mother. She's like, don't say that. But I'm like, but then don't make it true though.
Exactly.
Don't make it true what she's saying to you. So I just thought that was a terrible thing. But I just find that the way things are written lately, it's just very quick, right? You have
Hmm.
these scenes where you're like, oh, all these people are being put together, or this little random thing is happening, and then you quickly see why.
Yes.
So they've been doing that a lot. So in this instance, Alexis brings them both over, and then to our big, huge surprise, Michael just shows up randomly.
Yes.
And Michael does awkward in conflict really well. He's like, I could come back. And then, like, Christina takes off with him.
He's so good. I love him. Like early start to him for this week. He had a lot of scenes this week.
And well, because he's dealing with sisters and cousins,
Oh
he's dealing
yeah.
with Christina, he's dealing with Joss, he's dealing with like this version of Molly. And the thing is, you know, Michael's equipped for it. He's equipped, and I liked his assessments of everything, but he escapes with Christina and ends up walking into a whole investigation at his dad's place and questioning. And I'm like, this guy can't catch a break. It's like
I
gotta be the worst night
know.
of his life. And I just found that really funny because once they're there, and I posted that picture where it's like just Sunny and Christina having this intense conversation, and then Michael wanders into the
Yes.
scene and is like, "Hi, I'm here. I'm the Uber for tonight's drama." But something else that I felt like was a punch to the gut to Molly was like Christina had a brother who showed up for her and saved her,
Yeah.
and I think that's the thing, like Molly could not be more than alone, and there are many family members that can substitute in for Alexis in terms of spending time with Christina so that she can show up for her daughter who, you know, pretty much just has Alexis. And yeah, her
Exactly.
dad showed up for but for a long time that wasn't the case. And Christina always had her dad to go to, you know, like her and her mom always
Yes.
butted heads, but she had her dad to go to. And one other thing I'm finding about this whole situation is that it is pulling the siblings closer together again, right? It is pulling Christina into the fold with like Michael. Like notice
Yes.
that like, you know, Dante is out of it. Sam is out of it. It's,
Hmm.
you know, Christina's getting pulled in to a world she's been on the outside of for so long. It started slowly with asking her dad to kill Ava.
Yes.
Then it's like, I'm gonna go steal a gun. like she was really ambitious. She's like, for my first crime, a double homicide. Like she was really aiming high. And then and now you have Michael for the first time. Christina is on the in of a Corinthos crisis. He hasn't told her about Sonny's part in it,
Mhm.
but that's the thing. Like Michael's got his hands full. He has Sonny's secret and he also has to protect Christina. And I feel like he's sort of inaugurating her into a world that she never really was able to be a part of, and I think she ultimately wants to, kind of like Morgan.
Yes.
They wanted it in. It wasn't a healthy place to be, but they wanted to be like where Michael was. And I felt like he was giving her a lot of training.
It was amazing. It was almost like he embodied Diane and a little bit of Jason and then
Mhm.
his own personality and kind of mushed it all into one. And it was like Mob 101.
But that's exactly it. I know that Michael looks like, oh, I just don't. First of all, I think it's Christina that could take over for her dad.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she's not experienced, but that's the point. I see Michael as this guide, this trainer, like you said, Mob 101, name of our first
Consultant.
podcast episode. But like Mob 101. And he's just showing her the ropes and she's actually kind of listening. Like the lesson that she's not really taking is don't do anything. Like sometimes keep your mouth shut. So he's taking the
Yes.
time to go over all these different rationales. But something interesting about Christina, about her potential,
Okay.
is when she sits there and goes and she's reading people's motives. I know
Hmm.
where my mom believes me. I know why Molly doesn't. But why do you believe
Yes.
me? So it's like
Hmm.
it's there. I just find like the recipe is there and it was even funnier. So not only does Michael show up and ends up being Christina's getaway, then he ends up in an interrogation, then he ends up back to Molly. And I was laughing. Like she's like, I saw that. I saw that look between you two. And I thought that was so funny. And
Yes.
then she's like, don't look at him, look at me. And I was just like, it was like those scenes were so well done. And I think at the same time too, like you have to remember, like these are the characters that are like the next generation, right? That are going to carry on
Exactly.
a lot of history. And I think a part of Christina and Molly's stuff, like think of it, like we've been dissecting their childhood, their history, their relationship as sisters, Molly's relationship to her mom. But it's so funny how like we never really saw this obvious difference between being
Hmm.
a Corinthos and a Lansing. Like
Oh, yeah.
and so I found in that moment was like, yeah, that is true. They are fundamentally on different sides. Like it's one thing that could be avoided as a kid, but growing up in situations like this with Molly being the DA, the ADA for now, and Christina, like they will fundamentally be on different sides. Like there's no
Yeah.
two ways about it. So it was really cool to have it like, oh wow, like there's actually a lot under this.
It was seeing like a more toned down, younger version of like Rick and Sunny.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it was like, yeah, it was fun to watch.
You talk about, Rick and Sunny and them being the toned down version. So Molly goes to see Alexis.
Yes, she
Because
does.
we know, right? We know that Rick has a grudge when it comes to Sunny. And so Molly comes in and she's laser focused on Christina. I mean, in truth, she's not wrong that Christina fits as part of the equation, but
Hmm.
because of how it's going, it's becoming really kind of apparent to everyone that this is a fixation, right? Because Michael is able to say it. She's not thinking clearly. Like she's very
Yes.
hurt and very angry. But it's so funny to watch that scene. Like Alexis, like, oh, Rick is terrible. And she's like, other people could have been involved in this. And then she's like, it's Christina. So it was really funny just to see each of them have a different like bane of their existence. For Molly, it's Christina. For Alexis in
Yes.
this moment, it's Rick. And also in those scenes, Molly definitely was the child. Definitely.
Yes.
Because it's, you know what? In those moments, there was definitely a Molly Joss connection parallel because
Yes.
because Molly is like, Mom, you have to turn Christina in. You know, your daughter, she's my sister and she's annoying. And I just want her to get what's hers. But like logically, that doesn't make sense. You're going to
Yes.
tell a mother, hey, could you just turn on Christina because I need you? It's basically an exaggerated form of their family dynamics, right?
Yes.
She wants Alexis to choose herself.
Yeah.
Basically, she just wants her to not choose Christina. She wants her to put her to the side. But this is really extreme. This is really extreme.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm shocked that it's extreme enough for Rick to even be concerned about Molly's fixation.
True. True.
I was really surprised that when he sat down with her and he saw how adamant she was, that he was surprised that she saw Christina in that way.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that he agrees, that like the family is supporting Christina more and that she's on her own. Because it was really funny when Rick was with TJ, the wellness center, they kind of like added a climbing wall. It was really cool, new set
Yes.
alert. So Rick says to TJ, we need to care for Molly in the way her so-called family won't. And I was just laughing and I'm like, but Rick, you're her family.
I know. I cannot.
I was
Like, where have you been, man?
I'm like, you're her family, and like so is TJ. But
Yeah.
I understand what he meant, but it was just funny how like it came out and how he said it. So, he knows and sees all of that, right? He sees the family dynamics and he sees that it's unfair with regards to Molly. But it was interesting to see that he was like, but Molly, this is too much though. So it's interesting that Rick is able to kind of make that division and he's really concerned for her. And then I was just so shocked that he challenged her in the way that he did when he said Ava made up all that stuff about Christina. Do you
Yes.
still feel that she's the aggressor? So I was actually shocked that he was like being a good dad in that moment and really challenging her thoughts in that way and not fueling
Hmm.
the ideas that she has.
Yeah, that was surprising for me too, but I was happy he did it that way.
And he had a twisted way of, I guess, de escalating or diffusing all of this by his logic to, and I hate to say that I actually understand what he means, but
Hmm.
to represent Ava.
Yes.
It was really interesting because I thought Nina was being kind of ridiculous trying to compare him scamming her into a marriage to representing someone who killed his grandchild, right? Like this, like
Yeah.
Molly believes Ava is responsible or shares a responsibility in her daughter's death. And,
Yes.
and then he's going to go represent her. I thought it was so weird, Nina making that pitch.
Hmm.
But then I guess after talking to Molly, he's like, maybe like I think he might believe that it's an accident and he knows that she wants someone to blame and he's like gonna do this, but I don't know how Molly's gonna feel. Like she's in a really
I
fragile
know.
state of feeling like she has no one. Is she in a place to buy his logic?
Not yet, so I think they have to like delay the case until she finds out. So
But
it
I
gives her
don't
time.
but I don't know what this means for her because this is a little too much going on where she's going to feel very alone. So you have Rick's logic about the whole Ava case that he's doing it in the spirit of helping Molly, but he also did a really good job selling his pitch to Curtis, like easing his mind why it's better to have him represent Heather than someone else.
I know he's really good at smoothing things over and making people see things through a different lens. Uh, I found it really fascinating the way he presented how he was going to work with Heather and what that means, and that he'll always, make sure that Trina and the victims get justice as well.
Yeah, but he's also lucky he was talking to Curtis and not
Oh,
Portia.
heck yeah.
because Curtis went to, try to he's not as good as Rick is at smoothing things over. And when he went
No.
to go talk to Portia, he told her about his trained eye.
No, I could not. I thought about you so much. I'm like, I wish I could see a video of her reaction right now.
Oh my gosh, I have a funny observation of Portia. So when Portia was on her computer, I'm like, how are
Yes.
you this like fancy schmancy doctor surgeon when you type that slow? She was like typing Heather Weber. I'm like, wow, your words per minute are just like, how are you writing your reports? How?
Right? Oh my gosh, we don't know.
That
We don't
that
know.
killed me, that I found really amusing. Okay. So going back to Rick for a second. So again, he is really good and he's living up to his reputation because everybody's saying that he's a very good lawyer and that he wins sometimes according to Jordan. Like he does win. So he's Nina kind of changed his mind that it's possible that like this was an accident and he's seeing that Molly is getting lost in her anger and in her rage. She even got mad at Rick for coming forward about what he saw.
Yes.
And so I just find it strange that she's getting all mad at that. Like, you didn't have to. And he's like, but I'm an officer of the law. And then it was like daughter, like father, or if it's in the other
Right?
order, who knows? But I was so shocked. Like, what did you think when she went to the police station and started talking to Dex? Like, what did you think?
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. John Cates is like to the extreme, but they're like really showing how when you're invested in something in the wrong way and letting your emotions take over, that it can get the best of you. And I was so completely shocked that she was willing to go that far, no matter how angry she is.
Oh my gosh, yes, because not only does she go there after her talk with her dad, but she also has a very interesting chat with TJ. And I was like,
Right?
what is happening right now? So again, her suspicions were really fair. She was all heated and she said, I have to approach this like an 88. But when she went to the PCPD, I'm like, I don't know that you approach it like an 88. All you said,
Yeah.
you know how many people you can go, hey, like hated Kate and didn't have an alibi. Like it's hard to have an alibi if you're like home alone or a thing
Well,
that you're
right? It's
sleeping.
like half of Port Charles.
Exactly. So that was shocking. But then for me, I'm like, whoa, peeling back the layers here of all this like off screen stuff that we weren't privileged to. It's kind of like, TJ and Molly have been on the show for forever. And then like suddenly we had started to learn of his view of the family. So we started to
Yes.
learn that, oh, he actually, despite what we've been seeing, all these like scenes of them getting along, all of a sudden we're learning about TJ's frustrations with Christina, let's say. But then we heard what he thought of Michael, his good friend Willow's husband. I was like, what?
Why? He talked about his TED Talks about doing the right thing.
Yeah, he's like, and Michael was like trying to quiet her, and he's like, the same Michael gives TED Talks and people aren't honest with him. And I was like, the funny thing is, I
What?
was shocked, but honestly, like if you think about life through the eyes of TJ and Molly, feels like pretty accurate perspective.
Right?
Like if you think about Molly and what her life experience has been and the fact that TJ has been alongside her since he was a teenager watching it all, or
Yes.
just, the fact that he's been in the family for so long, but we never ever got their POV on anything, right? They were always sort of like in the background being happy.
Yeah, that's
And now
true.
they're adults and now they're kind of in the game, right? Like Michael is still protecting his dad. Like Sonny being in the mob hasn't changed, but then, Molly decides to go into the law. And I always forget it's not just Alexis, but her dad is also a lawyer. And it's like
Yes.
all of this stuff would be in their lives as well, especially with her choosing to be like an ADA. But at the same time, where I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so crazy!" Like, what? Like they're like listening to Molly and TJ rant, but at the same time, I really loved and appreciated it because I'm like, "Yeah, it makes sense. It totally makes sense." But then when she thought she solved her first case, she's like,
Oh
I
boy.
don't know. Michael doesn't want her to talk. Because I know for a fact that innocent people never go to jail. And so, and so
Right? Oh,
I think she killed him. And I'm like, I couldn't believe this. Like she was solving a crime based on her personal feelings.
yep.
A la Anna. Anna couldn't be prouder, I'm sure.
I know. Gross.
So yeah, so she's convinced that Christina did it and then went to tell Dex all of this stuff. Like, and the fact is like today Christina realizes. So I hope she understands. Like she's been hesitating on Michael's advice
hmm
and he's been hammering it in. Keep your mouth shut, keep your mouth shut, keep your mouth shut. But I had no idea off screen she was at the Quartermains.
Oh my gosh, I love that scene so hard because Michael's like, when you lie, you blink for a long time or you blink a lot. I'm like, oh my God, I love that because I did notice when Chase was asking questions, she was just like blinking for a long time. And I it was just really I love how they kind of tied it all together and that he's like, fix your face you don't know how to lie.
Yeah, and I liked it. Like Diane's not here, so I'm with her. But it's like,
Yes.
how legal was all of this, or how obligated was she to be there when Michael just told her, "Get up, we're leaving."
Exactly.
So Michael's got his hands full, but I think he's getting some buy-in with her. Like he said, because I know you and I know you wouldn't do this when in terms of like believing that she didn't do it. When in reality is like it's because Dan did it. So I'm 100%
All right.
sure you did it.
Ugh.
And also the way that he's showing her that he knows her, the fact that he's letting her in on this plan, and her too being like, "Oh, you're letting me in into this." She's like, "Well, yeah, because like otherwise you're going to ruin it if you run around saying things. Like you need to have the full picture to understand the consequences of your choices." So this is crazy because apparently everybody needs Diane, and the issue is that Sunny is using her, so she can't help Alexis, and
Yeah.
Diane's really upset because obviously she wants to support Alexis. And part of me
Hmm.
felt the same, but like when Diane was being sarcastic, being like, "Oh, okay, so it's Alexis's fault that she doesn't know how to get rid of a 9 millimeter." I'm like, well, yeah, she should have
Yeah.
called Sunny. She shouldn't have
She
left the house
panicked.
with it.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit her fault. And I love how she's telling Molly, I was just acting on emotion. And I'm like, yeah, but how come when you act on emotion and wind up being dragged into the PCPD, you're not like this crazy person that needs to be
Yes.
institutionalized? You know what I mean? It's so funny when other people act out of emotion versus when Christina acts out of emotion.
Oh, 100%.
So Michael's not just busy with Christina, but also busy with Joss. So she finally made her way to Michael to complain about her mom. And the only thing I can think about is that, like, I noticed that Michael's office is similar to Drew's,
Yes.
meaning that he had like a table by the window. And I just kept staring and wondering, is there something wrong with Michael's work table? Because it certainly doesn't get as much action as Drew's, because it was right around that area that he hooked up with Nina and then like kissed Willow. I just think
Yes.
his table is broken. So somebody may want to look into the table.
Somebody just fix this
Yeah,
damn table.
fix the table already. And when like he was talking to Joss about like Kate's and all that stuff, I was like, like he deserved it and saying all this stuff and being really
Yeah.
protective of how he went after Christina. And I was like, Angry Michael is back. Thank you very much. Like, we needed that to snap Joss out of her, like, youth bubble of like black and white, right and wrong, because
Yes.
she wouldn't stop going on and on. And he was like, Mom can make her own decisions. Like, we don't have to like it. And you don't always understand why people do what they do, and leave it alone. And that's the point. You didn't live Carly's life. You don't have history with
Exactly.
these people. You have a different life because of the choices she made as well. And so when she kept telling Michael, like, like it could like just all blow up in her face. I'm like, what could also blow up in her face? A chatty daughter. Like, just zip it
Right?
already. Like, just zip it. Oh,
At least you didn't tell Dex.
yeah, that's gonna be a problem. Well, maybe not, because when they're together, they don't often talk.
That's true. I also thought you would mention angry TJ because he likes to work out when he's angry. So, like, how do we
Oh,
make him
Jim
more
TJ?
angry? Yeah.
I like Jim TJ. I'm not gonna lie. TJ in the gym. Yes. Um, in terms of like weird looks, right? Because there's definitely weird looks with Anna and Jason, but I noticed a very warm look between Jason and Elizabeth. Like he
Me
smized
too.
when he
He
looked at her.
did.
Full smize. I was like, why are you being sexy everywhere? Like, I'm so confused.
I am too. Like, he's just like, I mean, it's been like almost 3 years since he's
It's
been with
true. He's like,
anybody.
somebody gonna give it up. And it's like, it's just not like Drew. Like Drew, like just, the chemistry is with everyone. But Jason, it's not his style. It's not his personality. So we're not used
Exactly.
to it. But maybe it is like a twin thing where they're like, yes, everybody, we got that chemistry. And you're like, yeah, you do. Maybe there's someone's like, I don't know, a nephew's wife somewhere. Kidding, kidding. I'm kidding.
Gosh. Well, talking
Drew's
about
already had
that,
that. So.
coma confessions, like, I'm like, what is happening right now?
Oh, poor! I can't wait till Lulu wakes up. She's like, okay, like guys, what? Why? Like she's gonna know like all this. Like I don't understand. It's her first day of work, and she's like, I'm gonna trauma dump all my sick patients. Like, what are you doing?
Right?
Like I'm gonna start just
Oh,
like
goodness.
venting about my personal life to these patients. It's like no, like why don't we put Lulu first? And the fact that like Elizabeth almost hurt her, it's like yeah, because you are talking out loud.
Honestly, I could not.
I just feel like
Uh,
it's really sad though because she's in nursing and she knows that like, a patient could hear you possibly and like feel you. And I feel like, Willow, are you counting on the fact that Lulu's not waking up? So you're just like, I can talk to you.
okay, I have a logistics corner here.
Logistics corner. Yeah.
Yeah. When Jason was melting the gun, I'm like, so this he
Oh my
melted the
gosh.
gun. He had no eye protection, no arm protection.
No,
He just
no.
like he went near a
I
barrel
just
and he like melted the gun.
because I couldn't even believe they showed that scene because I've seen scenes like that in dramas and they're pretty gruesome, but like they showed that scene and all I could think of bubble, bubble, toil in trouble. Like I just kept picturing like a Halloween vibe, and it was like the
Yes.
cauldron, and he was like, "Look, I'm a spell." Like it was crazy, and I'm like, I don't understand. Like I'm a coffee importer with like a ton of acid in the back. It was just so good. It was so
I
good.
love how he like identifies so hard with being a coffee importer. He even told that guy Isaiah, he's like, I'm just a coffee importer, but like I could defend myself. Like we're good. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna like get all these guys and I'm gonna get lucky
But
and I'm gonna come back, but like I'm a coffee importer.
But do you know how troubling this is for Isaiah? He's like, so the deputy mayor is like killing assassins, like is arrest, like protecting me. And then like this coffee importer is going to Somalia, is going to like these really dangerous places to save a person he cares about. And he's like, okay, like
This is a
what?
tight knit
You're
community,
gonna you're
guys.
gonna die. Like you're gonna die. Like you import coffee and you're gonna go there. He's like, okay, sure. Like it's gonna be funny watching him integrate and having to learn all of those Port Charles things. Like to transition from normie to like Port Charles resident is gonna be enjoyable.
I so love it. Yes, absolutely. What was another thing that was so funny to me? Well, I know we talked about like Anna and Jason, but it literally felt like a live unfriending. Like she's like, "I'm so disappointed in you. I now unfriend you," and then she walks away.
Yeah, because I think he said something about like working with her or considering as a
Yeah,
friend. It's like his face is like, not me.
no.
Well, obviously in my soul, I'm lying. Like in my soul, like you're one, and it hurts. So I'm saying this to hurt you. Like
So
literally, she's like a girl being dumped, and she's not happy, like a
yes.
teenage girl.
So there was an unfriending, and then there was like a renewal, true bond, renewed friendship with Anna. No, not Anna. Sorry, Ava
Oh
and
yes,
Nina. They
yes.
really kind of like laid it on thick. Slowly, we knew they were talking again. We knew there was forgiveness there. We knew that Nina was helping with the lawyer, but they like legit took a scene to like tell us that like they're solid, like they are besties for life.
So exactly, if you're gonna like hash that out between Ava and Nina, we can at least get one conversation where Jason and Carly go, we're going to stop dressing alike. We're going to stop staring at each other like, we're longing. We're just going to be
Yes,
friends. Friends who don't
yes.
long for each other, friends who don't want to have daytime naps, sometimes nighttime naps.
Amazing.
Like that was hilarious. Violet told me that you have daytime naps.
I cannot. The kid gossip is amazing, but did he say in
Love it.
return, Willow has daytime naps with Drew?
It's true. He didn't even divulge that part. And then when he called Tracy hangry, and Georgie's like, I cannot
OMG.
believe you just called Tracy Quartermain hangry.
Adorable. I love those scenes. I love that family together. And like you said, Maxie has such a like they write her character with such realness and mothering and the situation she's in and the looks that she gives. Like it is amazing. I love it so much.
Yeah. Helping Her with Her Kids is so good, but I love the underlying story that Felicia had to spell out.
Yes.
And we see it again, right, with Lois talking to her at the end that with Brooklyn possibly having a baby, that she might lose Brooklyn in the same way that she feels with Cody. But like
Yeah.
Mac, I'm like, now we understand, right? Like all this time when Maxie was young, it was like Maxie's making mistake after mistake. But now I understand where she gets her never learn a lesson thing from. Definitely Mac. After everything that just happened, he's like, okay, Felicia. So Cody and Tracy have a really good bond and she treats him nicer than she treats other people. I am getting him away from her. And I'm like, yeah,
That's gonna go over real well.
I think that's a great plan. Like, what? I've never found Mac to be so just off the wall like that. Like he survived raising Maxie and Robin
I
and
know.
Georgie.
We also got to experience Lois and her new voice this week.
Oh, it was just silly. And at least the accent came back because I'm like, I just don't know what to make of it. Is it just to mix things up? Like, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what that's about just yet.
I'm not either, but I love that Tracy said your Bensonhurst is showing because we use your youth is showing. So I was like, yeah, that's for us.
She said your youth?
No, she said your Bensonhurst is
Oh,
showing
okay.
because when she was getting mad, but I was like, we use that same kind of expression on our
Yes.
podcast.
Yes. No, I like that. That I made me feel good to have her accent return because when Maxie and Lucy and what's
What did Lucy
what's her name
say? It
again?
killed me. Natalia.
Natalia. Oh,
She's
she's like she's
like,
having a stroke. Call
yeah,
911.
she's like, does it hurt when you
Does
do that? Does it hurt your throat? Like,
No, that was
amazing.
really good. Oh my, hey, whoa.
Oh no, what?
How have we not mentioned this? So Chase says, oh, Finn is going to be back in 1 month. So like Violet, like he'll obviously want Violet to go back and live with him.
I
What does
totally
that
missed
mean?
that. I don't know.
And I'm like, so are you going to get rid of Violet or are you going to bring back Finn? Like, how is that going to, or in 1 month, are we going to find out that like Finn is just
He's
decides
not
he's not
well.
coming home? Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I think,
understand.
yeah, I don't know why they're dropping that because I don't like being teased in that way. And I don't want Violet to leave. I love her in this whole situation. So I'm
Exactly.
just hoping it's like we get a little update, but the reality is we all have the internet. We know he's not coming back.
Exactly. So I was like, why are you saying that? Like, what
Yeah,
are you
so not
trying to
cool.
do here? Like, I don't know if they're just trying to cause an uproar because
Don't
I'm
play with my
roaring.
heart. Yeah.
Roaring.
Okay.
Are we done?
Oh, well, that's I want us to be. I'm trying here. So we are. We've given out, our favorite lines and things. Let's just throw out the
Oh,
stars and
I
call it a
have a
day.
favorite line.
Tell me.
It's when it's between Sunny and Alexis, which like, well, you're a career criminal. He's like, and you're only an incidental one. I thought that was really funny.
Amazing. I agree.
Oh,
Such a good line.
oh, oh my God, there's another one. I don't know who said this. Oh yeah, it was
Okay.
Rick. It was Rick. When Nina kept saying Ava's innocent, he's like, Ava hasn't been innocent since she found out she was a Jerome.
Yes, so good.
Um, and then when Lucky says, "Don't ever give that guy bad news."
Yes.
So clearly he was like cheating with the card game, and he did something with the wrapper for the diamonds, but I'm not sure what that was. But I was like, okay, I'm into it. That's all I got on the whole. And also, ew,
Mhm.
Holly, ew, Holly. Oh,
She's
diamonds,
so gross. I
diamonds.
can't.
I was like, what is your deal? And then that's it.
Okay,
Ta-da.
good. Yeah, let's do this thing. So let's give some stars.
Okay.
I'm get I'm gonna give stars to
Michael.
oh my gosh, absolutely Michael, Molly, Christina,
Lulu,
TJ at
she's
the
coming real
gym.
good. I'm giving a
uh
Lulu a good listener star.
I because she normally really isn't. Okay, so Jason, Carly, Brennan, that whole, even Anna, that whole little
Anna
situation
Banana.
is hilarious. Felicia had, she had her moments throughout the week. So I love that she knows how to use a machete and that we know this about her now.
I know, and she says it in like her gentle voice. She's like, I know how to use a machete, and I'm like, I trust you. Like in terms of
Right?
anybody being able to go solve and do anything, it's you because like I know you're a patient advocate, but it makes no sense because you know how to use a machete. Like I'm not crazy here.
I'm going to give a -10 star to Sunny because it's almost like he doesn't understand the consequence of murder and the town of Port Charles.
Remember when he
So
corrected Diane in front of Anna? No, I am glad that Kate's is dead.
oh my gosh, I could not just like, I guess you like, I want to give you a challenge. I'm like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you, Sunny? You're supposed to be back on your meds and things are still completely awry.
Yeah, I don't know, but he has a solid alibi, so he's like walking on sunshine.
He's
Whoa.
such a bozo. Started Jordan, and now
Yes,
I'm so excited that Isaiah's awake, and I love their like
start
chemistry.
Isaiah. From
Ooh.
me to Isaiah, a star. A star to TJ at the gym.
Yeah, I gave so 2 stars because I gave him one earlier.
Oh.
Oh my gosh,
I
so
heard his abs from here, so that's why I didn't.
I didn't know. Did we give everybody stars though? Did you give everybody
I think.
Elizabeth,
Oh,
well,
Elizabeth. No, I forgot about
Christina,
Elizabeth.
Molly,
I think we did it.
Diane,
Uh, uh,
Alexis,
yeah. I feel like, we need
Lucky,
that music at the award
Brennan.
show that is just like it plays and you can still keep talking.
I think
Oh,
that's it. Ooh, what
yeah.
else?
That's a wrap, folks. We're gonna
Okay,
have a great weekend. We're done.
I hope so. Okay. Bye.
Bye.